Good afternoon. It's Sunday afternoon here in the UK and I hope you're well wherever you are in the world. It is a pretty grey and chilly day, but look, I'm so excited. I've got my firewood all stacked up, so I'm definitely going to be lighting a fire in a little while later on today. So I decided to check out my sweater drawer and my cardigan drawer with all of my jumpers and my woolly warm stuff in. And do you ever get this? Do you ever find that you end up with a bunch of moths? Look, they've been eating my jumper. It's so annoying. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. Holes. See? How did they get in? I put moth things in my drawers. I sprinkle a load of lavender oil in there. So anyway, what I decided to do was to take out one drawer at a time, empty all the drawers, wash every single sweater, every single cardigan, every single kind of little jackety thing that I like to wear because I get so cold, and wash them all, vacuum everything out, disinfect the entire drawers, which I don't think they ever have been disinfected in about 30 years since I've had them, and then spray them with moth killer spray, and then put some scented lavender paper in and some little lavender balls as well, and some lavender from the garden that I've kept from the summer, and hope that those little critters, those little moths are going to disappear. Anyway, that's just by the by. But all I'm saying is that that's winter and I've opened up my drawers and getting out my sweaters and hunkering down and getting really cosy and stacking up my firewood. So I'm definitely going to be lighting a fire after I've spoken to you because it's very, very grey and chilly and leaden out there, and I think it's going to chuck it down with rain again, and it's going to rain for the next couple of days. So I'm certainly going to keep myself nice and cosy in here. That's what I'm going to do. Are you the kind of person that likes to fix things and mend things, or are you the kind of person who likes to chuck things away, throw them away, out with the old and in with the new? I have to say I'm far more the mend it, save it, use it, reuse it. I was thinking about my cashmere, because I do find that cashmere, I know it's a bit pompous sounding, but cashmere, darling, really is the only thing that keeps me warm. A lot of my stuff that I buy, my cashmere jumpers and things that I buy, are actually from charity shops, and they are absolutely brilliant. I think people who have had the luxury of being able to afford cashmere, and then the luxury of being able to give it away to charity, or something may have happened to them, they may have passed away, they may have died. So it's really great sometimes when you go rummaging around and you come across about 6 cashmere jumpers in different colours and they've never been worn. That happened to me once. Well, once. And it was brilliant because I managed to give each of the children a cashmere jumper for Christmas in their favourite colours, because they were all different colours, and I kept a couple for myself, so it was brilliant. And actually they all still wear them and they're great. So I definitely am a mender. So I will get these little holes from these little moths that have eaten half my jumper away, and also on my tummy as well, and I will stitch them up, or I will patch them up, I will make something of them. So yeah, definitely never would throw something like that away. And also what's really cool is if you take a cashmere jumper, or any jumper, if it's been eaten everywhere else or whatever, and you cut off the sleeves, you can sew the fingers there like that, and then you can make little mittens. And you can stitch it up here as well, or you can put it on a very hot wash, not a very hot wash, but not a wool or cashmere silk wash. Put it on a warm wash, and then you can make your jumpers shrink, and then you can make little cosmetic bags or little hats with the bottom of the jumper and things like that, and actually tea cozies, all sorts of things. Mats to put your hot things on the table. I mean, it's just brilliant. So it's really worth doing, and not chucking those sorts of things away. I think it's always worth trying to salvage things and upscale and upcycle stuff. Anyway, so today I thought I would pop by and just read you a couple of things from this book that I've got here, which is a book that a friend of mine gave me. It's here it is. It's called Maktub, and it's by Paulo Coelho. And I think it's got some really interesting, takes sort of like a little sort of curated book of wisdom, really. All sorts of things, from poetry through to kind of spiritual writings, fables, stories, things to kind of get you through, really. So things which are offering you a little bit of advice. Oh look, the sun, talking about getting through. The sun is trying to peek through the clouds. That's exciting. I might be blinded in a minute. Anyway, bear with me. So I'm going to read this from this book that my lovely friend in Los Angeles sent me, and it's just great. So it's a poem, and it's by Langston Hughes, who I absolutely love, and it's called The Negro Speaks of Rivers. I've known rivers. I've known rivers ancient as the world and older than the flow of human blood in human veins. My soul has grown deep like rivers. I bathed in the Euphrates when dawns were young. I built my hut near the Congo and it lulled me to sleep. I looked upon the Nile and raised the pyramids above it. I heard the singing of the Mississippi when Abe Lincoln went down to New Orleans, and I've seen its muddy bosom turn golden in the sunset. I have known rivers, ancient dusky rivers. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. Isn't that gorgeous? Can I read that again? Is that okay? Do you mind? Sorry, I really like it. The Negro Speaks of Rivers by Langston Hughes. I've known rivers. I've known rivers ancient as the world and older than the flow of human blood in human veins. My soul has grown deep like rivers. I bathed in the Euphrates when dawns were young. I built my hut near the Congo and it lulled me to sleep. I looked upon the Nile and raised the pyramids above it. I heard the singing of the Mississippi when Abe Lincoln went down to New Orleans, and I've seen its muddy bosom turn golden in the sunset. I've known rivers, ancient dusky rivers. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. Gorgeous! I do like that. I do love a bit of Langston Hughes. I think his poetry is just spectacular. Right, moving swiftly on from a poet to an artist. So, one of the greatest sculptors of all time, that Michelangelo chap who carved out David. And I remember him saying that, in fact, I don't know if this is going to be it because I haven't read it yet, but I remember a quote of Michelangelo saying, I carve the marble until the soul is set free. So I think that's a really lovely way of looking at it. So anyway, here we go. Someone once asked Michelangelo how he was able to create such magnificent works of art. It's very simple, said Michelangelo. The sculpture is already complete within the marble block before I start my work. It's already there. I just have to chisel away the superfluous material. The master says, there is the work of art we were all destined to create. It is the central point of our life, and however hard we try to deny it, we know how important it is for our happiness. Usually this work of art is covered up by the years of fear, guilt and indecision. But if we decide to chisel away the superfluous matter, if we do not doubt our ability, we can fulfill the mission we were given. This is the only way to live with honour. So somebody asked Michelangelo, how does he create such magnificent works of art? And he replies that the work of art is already in the stone. He just has to chisel it away. And then it will be revealed. A bit like I said about chiseling away, carving away until the soul is set free that's in the stone. And life really is like that. I really do believe that. I really do believe that if we can just chisel away all the superfluous rubbish, all of the detritus, all of the layers of skin that we build around ourselves, all of the things that we're fed. Oh, you're not good enough. Oh, you could do better. Oh no, don't try that. No, why are you bothering to learn how to do sculpture? Why are you bothering to plant that rose? It's only going to die. Why are you bothering to even try making that cake? It's way too difficult for you because you're not really a very good chef, are you? You can't really cook. Not like the real cooks in restaurants and on television. Hello? Have you been one of those people who's always had other people in your life just putting you down the whole time? And has it actually made you stop and try and validate your position before you even started, and then you give up because you think, oh well, if my sister says I'm rubbish, I must be, or if my mum tells me that, or if my dad or my brother or my boyfriend or my husband or my whatever it is, neighbour tells me that I'm not going to be very good at something, then why bother even trying? What's the point? I'm only going to fail and I'm only going to look stupid. and everyone's going to laugh at me, and everybody's going to tell me that that was a waste of time. Why did I bother? Blah, blah, blah. Well, actually, it's not a waste of time. Everybody has a little kernel of creativity deep inside them. I can remember my son, my youngest son, going to, it's like drama classes and music and singing and dancing. And he always used to hide under the table. He has big sort of auditory processing and lots of neurodiversity, Asperger's, all sorts of things, anxiety. And he was only about 5 or 6. And he used to hide under the table and he never said anything. But he used to come back and the teacher, the instructor, who's actually a good friend of mine now, this is like 22 years ago, was just brilliant with him. And she just let him do his own thing. He would braid the girls' hair, he could paint their nails, whatever it was that he wanted to do. He didn't have to join in with the performance. But actually, little did he know, he was actually crucial to the performance, because he was kind of doing their hair and makeup at the age of 6 or 5 or whatever it was. Anyway, so one day, but he used to love it. He'd go there, he said, "Mummy, it's so much fun. I had such a great time. It was just brilliant. Everybody's so cool." And I'd say, "Well, have you got a part in the performance at the end of the week?" No. And this would be like the Tuesday, and it would only be like a 5-day summer camp thing. And then I said to my friend one day when I was picking him up, "How's it going?" And she said, "Your son has got a button, a switch, and it's hidden somewhere. And you know what? I know how to switch it on. I know how to press that button, and it's working. And he's going to do that performance, and he's doing it of his own accord." And I always remember her saying that. He's got a hidden button, he's got a hidden switch somewhere, and I know how to push that button, and I know how to make it work. And she did. She was amazing, inspirational, amazing woman. And he's still like that. He's got that button. That button has never gone off. In fact, that button went into overdrive, and he went off and he did a degree in fine art, an MA in fine art. He's just become a professional personal trainer. He's doing a course in nutrition. He models in London Fashion Week. He's on the some vodka advert, and blah, 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 all sorts of things. And I just think, you know what? That switch was always there. It's just actually having the right people around you and the confidence in yourself to be able to get that switch switched on. And I always remember another thing I used to think when I was younger, because I was always put down. That's why I'm kind of talking about this. I was always told, "You're too ugly, you're too fat, you're not clever enough, you'll never be able to get into that place, and school's never going to accept you, you're never going to get into art school, you're never going to do this, you're never going to do that." Whatever it was. Not by everybody, but by some people. "Do you really think you're good enough? What does that poem mean you've just written? That doesn't mean anything. It means nothing to me. Why are you bothering?" And the same with Ravenous Butterflies. Some people would say, why are you messing around, wasting your time on social media? That's a waste of your time. Why are you bothering to do that? Well, actually, there are things in life that we have to do. We have to be able to express ourselves, otherwise we just shrivel up and die, right? So that kernel, that little nut kernel, that little seed that's inside you, that little bulb needs to be planted. It needs to be watered, it needs to be looked after, it needs to be nourished. And then your confidence will grow, you'll flourish, and you will be able to do that performance, make that piece of art, bake that cake, plant that rose, and it will grow, and it will produce more roses than anybody else's rose bush ever has. Sing that song, write that song, play that music, whatever it is. Jump out of an aeroplane and do your skydive for charity. Why not do it? Just give it a go. You're never going to know until you've tried. I mean, that's one thing I would never do, skydive. I would never do parachuting, because I just think I'd land in a heap on the floor, and that would be me. I'd end up halfway through the earth at the other end of the world in Australia or something. I mean, it'd just be the most horrendous explosion of me known to man and woman. Mankind. Peoplekind. Womankind. Anyway, all I'm saying is, everybody has that something magical inside them. Everybody has a gift inside them. Whether that gift, as I said, is baking that cake, making that piece of art, it could be hairdressing, it could be going and whispering to horses, it could be working with children, it could be anything. But don't lose your confidence, because it's there. Like Michelangelo, just chisel that sculpture out. It's waiting for you. It's waiting for you to chisel away the exterior barriers and boundaries and skins that you've put up around yourself, perhaps. Maybe you haven't. maybe you've got some really good advice that you could share here to help people who do have that lack of confidence, because it takes an awful lot of guts and an awful lot of courage and fearlessness to go out there and be who you really are. And you know what? We only have one chance at it. If we're lucky, we might have 2 or 3, but really focus on this one chance. It's all we have now, here and now in this moment. So that was a very good piece of advice from the master and Michelangelo. I enjoyed that. I'm absolutely 100% back that one. Let's see if we can find something else in here. Okay, I don't know what this is about, but let's see if we can pull it out of the bag and see if we can find something that goes with this. Okay. A wise old Chinese man was walking across a snowy field when he came upon a woman crying. "Why are you crying?" he asked. "Because I keep remembering the past, my youth, my beautiful face reflected in the mirror, the men I loved. God was cruel because he gave me a memory. He knew that I would recall the springtime of my life and weep." The wise man stood contemplating the snowy field, his eyes fixed on a certain point. The woman eventually stopped crying and asked, "What are you looking at?" "A field of roses," said the wise man. "God very generously gave me a memory too. He knew that in winter I would always be able to remember the spring and smile." Yeah, I suppose that's quite wise, isn't it? So don't look at your face as it is as you're getting older. Don't look at the lines and the furrows in your brow and the little laughter lines and the sadness lines and the perplexed lines and the anxious lines. Think about all of the good things on your face. Well, not the laughter lines, but think of the laughter lines and the rosy cheeks and the smiling mouth and the smile lines and the way that your chin moves when you smile and remember when you had those happy memories in your past. Don't dwell on the bad, sad part of the past, and don't dwell on the fact that you're not beautiful now, because every age has beauty. And I always say this, having struggled with my own kind of like weight and my own appearance, is that beauty really does shine from within. And I think that the more authentic and the kinder and more compassionate we are, and the more we actually are less selfish, less conceited, less vain, less narcissistic, and more kind of altruistic and giving and going out rather than looking in the whole time, then the more beautiful we become. And I have no fear of aging. Sometimes I look at my face and I think, I remember when that furrow line happened when I was really unhappy, or that weird line up there happened, or there's a kind of like, I don't know what that is, third eye or whatever it is in my forehead. Yes, there's a lot of pain that we've been through in life. Many of us have been through an awful lot of real upset and real distress, and I really feel for you. I'm really with you. I really am. But there's also the happiness. There's always also the laughter lines. There's also the little sort of cheeky lines and the way that your eye goes up or down in your eyebrows or whatever it is. And that's going to shine through. And every line on our face is a memory, isn't it? It's a memory. And so I look at my face and I think, okay, I've got small little things here and droopy drops here and whatever it is, blah, blah, what people do, I don't know, they do this facelifty stuff like my mum used to do, and a few times she did it. And I wonder, unless you've got something which is, I think, really upsetting you, I think just enjoy what you have, because I'm sure that there is a lot of beauty there, and that beauty is just really skin deep, and it's what's inside that really matters. That's my advice, and I'm sticking to it for sure. Right, let's find another one. Okay, here we go. This is, by the way, for those of you who just joined me, this is a book that my lovely friend gave me. It's from the guy that wrote The Alchemist, Paulo Coelho, and it's called Maktub, and it's jam-packed full of lots of little kind of ditties and lots of interesting things about kind of wisdom, bits and bobs, poetry, all sorts of things about life, really. Little kind of parables, I suppose, to help you through the day. According to the desert monks, we must leave the angels free to act. This is why they sometimes do absurd things, like talking to flowers or laughing for no reason. The alchemists follow God's signs, clues that often make no sense at all, but always lead somewhere. The master says, don't be afraid of being called crazy. Do something today that goes against all the logic you were taught. Be slightly less sensible than you've been taught to be. That tiny thing, however tiny, might open the doors to a great adventure, human and spiritual. Well, oh, sorry, I've got a little itchy nose. Oh. Well, have you ever said yes to most things? Have you ever decided to be a little bit sort of risky about things? Done things like said yes to going on holiday with a bunch of friends that you don't really know that well and having the best time, or sort of saying yes to going somewhere. I mean, okay, something really simple like, okay, I'll come and see that movie with you, not knowing what the film is, but actually having the best time because you've opened yourself up to a completely new and exciting adventure, something that you wouldn't have normally gone and seen. When I was a young mum when my kids were little, and I used to be surrounded by a lot of very, very gorgeous women who were all into keeping fit. And they used to spend a lot of their time, this is the ones that weren't working, a lot of their time keeping fit. So they would go on, I mean, they all ended up doing things like triathlons and sort of 40, 50 mile bike races. Oh, look at that sunshine, isn't that gorgeous? I can't even see myself now in the camera, in the phone. Oh, that's so nice. Oh, it's going in the cloud in a minute. And they all used to go and do all their sporty stuff. And I used to call them Sporty Spice Gang because that's what they used to do all the time. And they loved it, and good for them. They kept very fit, and they lost a few hours in their day doing something that they enjoyed, and they'd always have a bit of a social afterwards. And I never did that. And I had my dog, so I used to go for a nice long walk with my dog. But I decided that I wanted to be part of that kind of gang. We were all quite close, and we always used to do things socially on the weekends and things. And so I decided to set up this thing called Culture Vultures. Oh, lovely sunshine again. And Culture Vultures was when somebody in our group would choose an activity which had to be creative. So it would be something like one of us, there were like 8 of us, one of us had to choose whatever they wanted to do. We took it in turns every month. So somebody might choose an exhibition, somebody might choose a theatre show, somebody might choose to go and visit a lovely stately home or a country house or something. Somebody might want to go to comedy night, whatever it was. It could be anything. Absurd, extraordinary, weird, or in my book quite ordinary and banal. But anyway, we all had to do it, whether we liked it or not. And there were so many things that we went to that I would never have chosen to go to, and I never would have made the effort to go and see and do. And they were absolutely brilliant. And I'm really glad that I was taken into a kind of, I mean, I don't like musicals, but we went and saw a musical. I don't particularly like, comedy, stand-up comedy, but we'd go and it would, there would be some really amusing things, or we'd have a really good laugh together and just make the most of it. And it was just brilliant to be outside of my comfort zone. And I think everybody else really learned something from that, in that it's not always a good idea in life to be completely tram-lined into what you always do, because it can be incredibly predictable. I always go to the same museums, the same art galleries. I visit the same lovely spots in the countryside. I love the same sort of botanical gardens. We're very fortunate to have 2 fantastic botanical gardens nearby where I live. Kew Gardens, which is the most exemplary sort of London botanical garden with, palm houses and lovely lily house and tree walks and everything else. And then Wisley Garden, which is the Royal Horticultural Society garden, which again has palm houses and temperate houses and greenhouses and experimental growing and all sorts of wonderful things. And they're both pretty much on my doorstep, so how lucky am I? But I should actually go and visit other places I've never been to, because that's what's exciting in life, isn't it? Trying out the new and exciting things. So we've so far covered. There's a secret button inside you which you should push and have the courage to pursue whatever it is creatively that you want to. Chisel away at that outside people telling you, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that, because if you don't try, you're never going to know how brilliant you are at kind of knitting that 20-mile long scarf, or crocheting the letterbox covers, or whatever it is that people are into doing these days. Who knows? You might be brilliant at it. You might have a real gift. Also, just try things which are slightly outside your comfort zone. I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying jump outside and do a parachute jump if that's something that you're petrified of, because I would never do that. But certainly just push yourself, sort of tweak yourself slightly outside of your comfort zone. You never know what you could be missing, actually. It'd be, really exciting. Right, I'm going to have a look at another page, because this is actually quite an interesting book. It's throwing up quite a lot of interesting ideas, isn't it? Which is what we like. Well, I certainly do. Especially on a Sunday afternoon, which looks like it's going to pour with rain. Right, here we go. Let's see what this is all about. Let's find something. Okay, here we go. I don't know what this is about either, but let's throw it out there. See what you think. We set out into the world in search of our dreams and our ideals. We often put things that are actually within easy reach in the most inaccessible of places. When we realise our mistake, we feel we have wasted our time searching in some far-off location for what was always near at hand. Oh, okay. Sorry, I think there must be a bit of... I brought in some logs from outside for my fire later in this big basket. I think there might be a bit of dust or something. I'm gonna restart that. We set out into the world in search of our dreams and our ideals. We often put things that are actually within our easy reach into the most inaccessible places. When we realise our mistake, we feel we've wasted our time searching in some far-off location for what was always near at hand. We blame ourselves for the mistakes we made, for having searched in vain for the unhappiness we caused. The Master says, even if the treasure is buried in your own house, you will only find it when you go far away. If Peter hadn't experienced the pain of denying Jesus, he would not have been chosen as the father of the church. If the prodigal son had not left everything behind him, his father would not have celebrated his return with a feast. There are some things in our lives that bear a seal on which is written, you will only understand my worth when, having lost me, you find me again. There is no point trying to shorten the journey. What does that mean? I'm not sure I know what that means. Oh, hang on a minute, I'm just looking. Lawrence has just said Western Burt Arboretum. Yeah, and Hoddesdon Wood. Yeah, I mean, I've been to Western Burt. It's absolutely beautiful. I actually completely agree with you, Lawrence. I've never been to Hoddesdon Wood. Where is Hoddesdon Wood? Hoddesdon Wood. Oh, you've corrected your spelling. Let's see what other people say. Hi, Mika from Minnesota. Anna says it's beautiful. Thank you, Anna. Mariana says enjoying your reading. Brilliant. Angela says, wow, thank you so much for sharing that. It's so relevant to how I'm feeling now. Well, I'm very glad about that. That's what it's all about. Finding relevance in what we're doing here so that you can actually put it into action. I shall remember the hidden button. Yeah, it's a good one to remember because actually we all have that hidden button. It's just knowing where it is. And isn't it interesting when you're with people, some people really get you and some people really don't. And how fascinating it is that when you meet somebody who really gets you, you kind of come alive. It's almost like they know how to press all those hidden buttons, which are really exciting hidden buttons. Not how to press your button like my mum used to be able to press my button and really annoy me very quickly without even having to do very much. Often just the look across the room, like, naughty girl Lisa. Shouldn't have listened to her. I should not. Right, I'm going to read one more and then I'm going to go and organise my fire for later. In fact, I might even light it now. Sit down by the fire, make myself a nice hot drink and read my book. Right, here we go. Let's find something. I don't want to go too religious because I don't really think this is a good place for religion very often because it can cause all sorts of upsets with people. Okay, here we go. I don't know what this one's about, but it might be interesting, it might not be. It's got Nepal, the word Nepal in it, and I do like Nepal. It's a really beautiful country. A friend of the traveller decided to spend a few weeks in a monastery in Nepal. One afternoon he went into one of the monastery's many temples and found a monk sitting on the altar smiling. "Why are you smiling?" he asked the monk. "Because I've just understood the meaning of bananas," said the monk. opening the bag he was holding and taking out a rotten banana. This is the life that has passed, and that we failed to enjoy to the fullest at the time, and now it's too late. Then he took from his bag a banana that was still very green. He held it up, then he put it away again. This is the life that has not yet happened and must await its moment, he said. Finally, he brought out a perfectly ripe banana, peeled it and shared it with the traveller's friend, saying, "This is the present moment. Learn to live it without fear." Well, I think that's really clever, actually. I love that analogy about the bananas. It's just brilliant. It's the same with avocados, isn't it? You wait for weeks for your avocado that's rock hard on the windowsill to ripen, and then suddenly it goes black and you can't eat it anymore. Or it gets those horrible brown bits in it. But the banana analogy is fascinating because I think we really do have to look at life in, well, there's probably at least 3 stages of a banana. When I was working, I did a market research group on bananas. We sell, I think we eat more bananas in this country than we eat apples, I think. I think bananas are one of our most popular fruits. We import millions of bananas every year. And people like to buy their bananas at certain stages. Some will buy their bananas quite green to ripen at home. Some like their bananas to be quite yellow so they can eat them immediately. And most people don't like their bananas when they've gone past that kind of like yellow going to turning brown and speckly. That's when you make really good banana loaf or banana muffins. Or stick them in the freezer, peel them, stick them in the freezer, and then take them out and whiz them in the liquidizer with a little bit of yogurt or something, and you've got a really good sorbet. That's quite yummy. But eating a brown banana, not many people want to do that. It's a bit, not very nice. And yes, I can see that analogy of life being like that. You can't eat the green banana because it's too starchy and it's going to make your tummy hurt. You can't eat the overripe banana because it might make you throw up before you've even eaten it, and it may have fermented and turned into alcohol anyway, and you don't want that. And it's all mushy. And you can just, for me, the perfect banana is the banana which is yellow without any brown spots on it, and it's just that perfect texture where it's not mushy, it's not floury, and it's just delicious. It's absolutely delicious and scrumptious. And I think that's absolutely right. And I agree with the monk, and I agree with his analogy. And the other thing I would suggest is if you do peel your bananas, stick your banana peel on your rose bushes, because you'll get lovely roses, because it's so good for the soil and good for roses. So yeah, banana peel is very good for roses and plants. I think it must have a lot of potassium in it and something like that. Anyway, they love that. So there we go. So yeah, fascinating, isn't it? So here we are on this grey afternoon, just covered lots and lots of different aspects of life, lots and lots of different things going on in the world, all different cultures, different monks and prophets and poets and all sorts of things. It's a really great little book. I'm actually really enjoying it, so I'm going to read one more from it. Hopefully it's going to be a good one. Oh, here we go. We'll finish with a little poem by Anthony Machado. This is a little poem by him. A traveller, you make the path with your footsteps, nothing more. Traveller, there is no path. You make the path by walking it. By walking it, you make the path. And when you look back, you will see the path. A path you will never walk again. Traveller, there is no path. Only the wake left by ships in the sea. Well, wakes kind of disappear as soon as they're made, don't they, in the water? So I think you can make a path, but you have to carve the path yourself. It's your own path, isn't it? And it can be an invisible path in your mind, or it can be a physical path. Well, you can certainly make a path of stones in your garden or something. I'm going to read that again because I think that's actually really lovely. Traveller, you make the path with your footsteps, nothing more. Traveller, there is no path. You make the path by walking it. By walking it, you make the path. And when you look back, you will see the path. A path you will never walk again. Traveller, there is no path. Only the wake left by the ships in the sea. That was Antonio Machado, the Spanish poet. Really interesting. Well, that was a lovely little interlude to the afternoon as far as I'm concerned. Oh, let me just have a look and see if anybody else has made any comments that I should read. Let's have a look. Mary says she never listened to naysayers and her book is coming. That's really good. Well, I listen to naysayers and I'm starting my 3rd book, so I'm going to make an announcement hopefully about my 2nd book next week for pre-sales, because it's going to be coming out very soon at the end of October, so not long to go, so that's very exciting. Melissa says projection by the people that didn't believe that in themselves either. Yeah, absolutely right. So I would say that a lot of people that have criticised me or any of my loved ones have been the people who have no belief in themselves, so they will put you down and say you can't do that because they don't believe that they can. So it's a projection. I absolutely, Melissa, believe that. Another Melissa says hello. Hi, Melissa. We've done Lawrence's Hot as Than Wood. Yep. And Stephanie says thank you. And Sandy says beautifully simple. I think that was probably the poem. So yeah, really interesting. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you for tuning in. And there's a lot more videos on YouTube because I just started a YouTube channel. And Angela says, can't see. Nice to see you. Be happy, and it will be. I am happy. Do you know what? I had another night last night where I went to bed at 10:30 and I did not get to sleep. I was lying in bed trying to get to sleep. Relaxed, but trying to get to sleep until it must have been about... last time I looked at my watch, on my phone, it was about 4:45. And I think I must have got to sleep around about 5:30ish, something like that, 6ish probably. And then I live opposite the church, so the church bells started ringing and clanging away and sort of singing their song at 9:30 in the morning. And I lay in bed and it woke me up, and I lay in bed and I thought, no, I've only just got to sleep. I've only had about 3 hours sleep. That's woohoo. Anyway, considering that, I'm feeling incredibly sprightly and bright, and I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because I've stopped drinking alcohol. I'm not drinking alcohol anymore, and I mean, I'm the occasional glass of wine, but I'm completely not having any spirits or anything anymore, and I think it absolutely makes a big difference for me. I made a little video, actually, I put it on YouTube, about alcohol and how I think that spirits are my nemesis, they're my downfall, and I think I shouldn't, they're like poison for me, so I think I shouldn't drink them anymore. So I'm not going to. I mean, maybe the occasional at Christmas, but not get stuck in at all. So I think that's probably why I'm feeling much brighter and much better. Anyway, I'm going to just quickly check those messages again for everybody who's just popped by. And Angela says, nice to see me, be happy. Rook sends lots of hearts. Sandy says, she only had 2 hours sleep as well. How do we manage, Sandy? How do we actually manage to get through the day? That's what I'd like to know. I don't know. Well, it's nearly 5:15, so I'm going to love you and leave you. I think, as I said, I'm going to light my fire, make myself a nice hot drink, and maybe a nice hot herbal tea or something. And yeah, just settle down for a lovely cosy evening. So guys, have a really lovely rest of the day wherever you are in the world. I'm really, really thankful for your support, and yeah, please do sign up to my YouTube channel. I only need to make 500 subscribers. It's free, and I can start monetizing my channel, which means that it helps me to carry on doing this. So keep going, keep subscribing, guys. That's really great on YouTube. Joanna says it's the first timer in Arizona. So this is your first time onto one of my live talks. I'm really glad. Welcome, Joanne. And Sandy says lots of love. And lots of love to you, Sandy. And I hope you have a better night's sleep tonight, because do you know what? I'm not sure I could repeat it twice and still be this cheerful. Anyway, Rook, thank you. I do feel quite clear and bright. It's really odd, isn't it? Maybe it's the lipstick. Maybe that helps. I don't know. Anyway, bye-bye, everybody. Have a fabulous rest of your day. Lots and lots of love. And thank you so much. Oh, Barbara's in Long Island. I used to live in Rye, actually, Barbara, which is opposite Long Island on the, next to Greenwich, Connecticut, in Westchester. I loved it. Had a lovely place by the seaside there. It was lovely. So you enjoy it. Enjoy the fall. Anyway, lots of love, everybody, and take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Have a fabulous rest of your day. And yes, please subscribe to YouTube. I'd be really grateful. Lovely, lovely to see you. Bye bye.